Yo, what's up, guys? BeatsbyHcien, yeah, in case this is your first time. And yes, so you've been wondering why your drums sound so basic and why they are not hitting hard. You want to stick around to the end of this video. I'll be explaining to you guys what to do, techniques to do, how to make your drums hit so hard. And by the end of this video, you should have an idea of what to do to improve your drums. I'm going to be using two of my projects that I've already done, and I hope you learn one or two at the end of this video without wasting much of your time. Let's get straight into the video. So yeah, I'm basically gonna play the drums that I'm going to be explaining to you guys, and we'll go into the details. We'll be using two different drum patterns: the first dance hall pattern and Afro swing drum pattern. But this is what the Afrobeat normal dance pattern sounds like. Can see how heavy it's sounding, right? And one of the key factor that's making it sound heavier is this. I'm not going to bother, some files are missing, but we're focusing more on the drum. So this is one of the killer sound on my mastering channel that elevates my whole mix in general. See what it sounds like. Well, imagine when I add this. You can see how it excites the whole beat. So yeah, the first thing you want to do when you're trying to create your drums is, of course, pick up a drum pattern that you want to do, or pick up a drum pattern that you want to use. And I have a video about drum pattern. You can click the link to watch. And once you've decided, in this case, in this first scenario, we are going for the normal Afrobeat drum bounce. So basically, you don't want to think of anything else, and you just want to put in that drum pattern first of all. So now, if you can notice around there, we just basically pick, and all the sounds I'm using are from my Haitian at our premium, and you can click the link below to get them if you haven't gotten them. And the first thing I did basically is to get the first bounce that I was going for, which sounds just like this. So like ba 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 ba. That was like the first thing I was going for. And I think I panned it with another sound. That's another thing you have to do. Panning is very important. So I pan it with another sound. This one's a little bit to the left, this one's a little bit to the right, and it sounds like this together. So that was like the first thing. So the next thing I did was to drop in my kick. Remember, like I said, you don't want to think about anything else. You just want to lay down the drum pattern that you're going for. Then every other thing is extra. So I added my normal steady kick with a little bit of groove, which sound just like this. Was just basically what I did. Then now, after doing that, I started adding in some nice, different ideas. And one thing that I do most of the time is basically placing my sounds where there isn't anything playing there. If you zoom in, you realize that where these sounds enter, there's nothing there. Where these sounds enter, there's nothing there. Where these sounds enter, there's nothing there. So that was like what I was just basically doing. It's like when you're filling up a puzzle and at the same time not overthinking it and just going with the flow. And also one basic information that I forgot to list out to you guys: sound selection, guys. Sound selection can make or break your drums. Do you get what I'm saying? So you want to make sure you have the right sound selection, which is very important. As you can see here, I'm basically using the Haitian kit. It's a good place to start from. I have free packs as well, but you can get other packs as well. Just make sure you pick the correct sound and the correct instrument that can help you. And if you're still having issues or confused on how to select sound selection, you can see my previous video where I showed you guys how to drop in into a simpler and just, from a drum loop, drop it in a simpler. If you use FL Studio, drop it into a Slice X. And when you drop it into a Slice X, you can just realize that you have drums that work together. So I just have to call that out. Sound selection is very, very important. So yes, you can see around this side, I was just basically adding in the sound in between where there's no sound, just to make it sound more interesting. And this is what it sounds like. I pan it a little bit to the right. pan it to the right. And the next thing I did was adding another sound. And as you can see again, this sound comes in where there is something here. And what this particular sound is doing is just making sure I'm exaggerating the next snaps that come. Just listen to it. See? So you don't necessarily want to watch this and replicate what you are doing. Just understand what you are doing. The first thing you want to do is lay down the drum pattern that you want to go for. And after that, enjoy yourself, follow the groove. One cheat is just basically positioning things where there is nothing there to create space for each drum to shine, and just basically, putting it in the up tempo and just enjoy yourself when you're doing this. So after I did that, the next thing I did was adding a conga. And some things like this conga, you want to make sure they're coming once, because if they keep coming everywhere, it wouldn't get exciting anymore. Do you get what I'm saying? And as you can see, I'm still using same analogy. Aside from the main drum pattern, you can see I'm placing each of these sounds where there is nothing sounding there. I can only put them together if I'm trying to layer and make it hit harder. But in situations where I'm just trying to create a groove, I'm just basically layering all these sounds where there is nothing to create space. That's like the most important thing. So the next thing I did was add this tom, and this tom was basically also coming in after this. You can see space. So that was what I did there. And after doing that, basically I felt like, okay, I have my groove. And if you've been following my sound, if you've been following my tutorials, you know the next thing I always do when I have a groove or when I have a starting point of what my drums should sound like, I start adding in percussion loops. The essence of adding in percussion loops is to keep that drive, is to keep that groove, is to keep that live feel, because Afrobeat, right? We're talking about African music. So we want to start adding all this African percussive loop, good percussive loop that sounds well with the overall beat. So as you can see, this essence, we added this one. This one, yeah? Can you hear? After doing that, we added another one, which is like a hi-hat roll. So I was just going with the flow, and as you can observe, I'm basically panning to the right, panning to the left, and this is just a shaker just to glue everything together. I always use like a shaker loop to glue the whole song together. You see, you can already feel the whole stuff. And I added an impact every 4 bars, to hit the whole drums. So we can start from the top and see what it sounds like. Really amazing. And the next thing we did was to drop this as well. And this is just basically a clap that is just basically layered, doing the same thing. Let me take this up so that you can understand more. And this is doing the same thing that these three they are doing here. So it's just basically like layering this whole stuff. Just to give it more vibe. And the next thing you can hear is just basically my bass. And I hope you've watched my bass video. If you haven't, click this link here if you're having issues on how to play bass. I basically use same analogy, same idea, same philosophy when I was creating this bass, the 1 and the 5th, if you've been following. And yeah, this is what the whole drum sound like together with the bass after laying down the simple drum pattern that I was going for. And then I started adding in percussion, more percussions where there is no sound, just to create room for other sounds. And I was just going with the flow. Then after I did that, I made sure I add in some nice Afro loops, African shakers, and I always use my shakers to glue my beats together, 80 to 90% of the time, that's what I do. And as you can hear what the drum sounds like on its own. And one thing I used to do sometimes, I add in like an NLS boss. And what I just basically do when I realize when I move the drive up to this 3.4 and the trim to around 1.6, I notice it makes it, that's like the word I can use for that. And if you still haven't watched, I've explained a video where I did this. I'm going to put link. I'm trying my best to put every link as possible so that you can just easily go there. And I'm just using a T-Wax mostly for my mastering. And this is what is making the whole overall mix bang. Do you get? So this is what it sounds like without the TRX and without the NLS boss. This is what it sounds like. The vibe is there, the groove is there, but it's not really banging. Do you get? So, but with the NLS boss, you can see shaping it already. But when you're not adding the T-Wax, what am I basically doing with my T-Wax? I just basically open it, go to T-Wax 6, if you're using T-Wax 5, it's the same thing. I click on the new touch. When I click on the new touch, I just basically come into my volume, my mastering, my focus, I put it to like 3, my analog around 7, 8. Transient is just basically tightening. I've explained this whole thing before, so make sure you click the link and please go watch my explanation, please. Yeah, I just raised the punch just a bit. The width is basically the stereo imaging, and while I'm doing all of this, I'm making sure the levels is not hitting this red, because when it does is when it means that the whole beat is clipping. Do you understand? So yeah, let me show you guys the second method, the second drum pattern, which is the Afro swing without wasting much time. So yeah, I'm basically going to be explaining to you guys the Afro swing pattern, and this is what we are going to be listening to. This is what we're going to be I'll be trying to explain to you guys. And that's me singing, by the way. So you want to make sure you click the link below to stream my music. So we're using the same ideas around here. Like I said, the first thing you want to do, we're using the same idea around here. Like I said, the first thing you want to do is pick out the drum pattern. And for this one, the drum pattern that we were going for was basically this. So after I've gotten that drum pattern, the next thing I started doing was to basically start adding in some nice hi-hat, hi-hat bounce. After I did that, I added a shaker. After listening to this, I think I can pan it to the left. Yeah, I want to create that space, you know what I'm saying? So you can see it's just basically simple. I had the drum pattern I was going for, which was the kick and the snare is always what I used to like get that drum pattern. Then I start adding things underneath. Do you get what I'm saying? So for this, I just added a hi-hat, creating space for the artist, which is myself, to sing. And after I did that, the next thing I did, like I always do all the time, is adding a percussion loop. This is Afrobeat, like I said, and I added this percussion loop, which sounds just like this. So you can see I'm using the same technique here. And after that, I added like a vocal chop, to create excitement and, more vibe to the beat. I added another one. Creating space, and as well I added an SFX sound, to make them know that that is the start of the whole drum sequence. And like I said, sample choice, like, selection, very important. And as you can see, most of my beats, I'm using the Hcien Attire Premium Pack because I carefully picked out those sound, carefully made them, and that's what I've been using. I'm going to do an updated version as well very soon, coming soon. So yeah, sound selection is very important when you're making your drums. And as my bass as well, like I said, go watch my previous video. I'm basically using the same technique. But I'm just basically following the chord progression. And together with the bass and everything, it sounds just like this. So let's play together with the vocal so we hear what it sounds like actually. Why don't I go? Oh, I got you for life. It's just you and I. Baby girl, why don't I go? Oh, I got you for life. It's just you and I. So yeah, so when I did that for my drums, you can see I'm using the NLS boss like I explained to you guys. And this time around, I'm putting it as 0.6. And the next one, I'm putting it at around 1 o'clock. And yeah, for my main, I drop in my T-Rax and I drop in a new touch. And you see how it's going to like make the whole stuff go up. I say you see how it's going to make the whole stuff like come up. Let's take out the vocals. Put this a little bit to the top. So yeah, as you can see, I'm basically using same ideas that I just explained in the previous pattern. I just wanted to show you guys this second pattern just to show you that what I explained in the first pattern can be used in every pattern. Like I always said in my videos, make sure you don't just watch and just duplicate what you see. Make sure you watch and try to be creative with yours. And in most cases, if you have issues, let me know in the comment section, please. And if you like videos like this, let me know. Like I always said, if you're having issues with music theory, always click here and go watch these videos and over here at music theory is like a fundamental that I feel every music producer should know. And yeah, that's basically it for me, showing you guys how to get good drums in hard hitting drums and technique to get in those drum bounce and swing. And I omitted something. You can also add swings to your drums and also, be creative basically with what you do. And that's basically it for me. So I catch you guys in the next video. Peace.